My name is Jamie Ligan. I'm a licensed real estate broker. My goal is to help you invest in real estate property without losing money. Alright? So, I want to address a question that I had in the past week. I bought a property for 4.6 million pesos. Now, it is time for the unit to be turned over. I will have a monthly payment of 30,000 for 20 years to the bank. I do not think that I can lease it out right now for 30,000 pesos, especially since we are in a pandemic. I tried selling it on a Zoom balance, but I saw that other people are also selling a similar unit for 3 million, and the unit that they have has a view of the amenities. I don't think that I can sell it. I'm interested now in another property, but I already paid more than 400,000 for the property. What should I do? Should I give up on the property so I can buy a new one? This situation is very common for first-time property investors. Oftentimes, in our haste to reserve property, we end up in an obligation where later on we realize it is not the best deal because we paid for property at a higher price and it's now difficult to sell to someone else. If you feel like you made a bad decision, do not lose hope. It doesn't have to be the end of the world. You don't have to lose one property so you can buy a new one. If you feel that you paid for a property too high, there are still some exits that you can consider. The options that I will give you ranges from not bad, better, to best according to the amount of money that you will get to recover from your investment. I would say it's not bad because my goal is to help you invest in real estate without losing money. If you lost money, then it's not an ideal scenario. So the not bad scenario is to recover some money through the Maceda Law. The Maceda Law, or Republic Act 6552, is also known as the Realty Installment Buyer Protection Act. This was authored by former Senator Ernesto Maceda to give protection to installment buyers. The goal of this law is to protect buyers from getting into onerous deals or unfair deals with real estate developers. The good thing about the Maceda law is that it gives you a 30-day grace period for every year that you have already paid for the property. This right can only be executed once every 5 years. So for example, you've already paid for a property for 3 years and you fell behind on the payments. That means that you have 90 days by which you can hold off from paying for the property without being charged interest for it. So especially if you've been paying for property for a longer time, this would give you enough time to think about what to do with your investment or try to sell it to someone else. So, for those who have paid for more than 2 years, you are entitled to 50% cash surrender value. This means 50% of the money you paid should go back to you. If you have paid for more than 5 years, then there is an additional 5% for every year that you have paid other than the 5 years. So, the Maceda law protects your rights as an installment buyer because at least you get to recover some of the money, and it would also give you a grace period where you're given enough time to figure out how to save your investment, especially when you have paid for more than 2 years already. The Maceda law does not cover properties mortgaged with the bank or properties that are leased out to tenants. So the Maceda law is applicable on developer sales. Why is the Maceda law important? The Maceda law is important because as a buyer, it would give you some flexibility that in case you wanted to start an installment on property, you would know that as long as you have paid more than 2 years, you can still recover if you decide to change your mind. So that's a good advantage of the Maceda law as opposed to if you're a cash buyer and you have to pay for everything in full cash, and then that's pretty much it, right? The second scenario is a scenario called negative gearing. This is what I would call a better scenario. Negative gearing is when you rent out your property lower than your monthly amortization. Oftentimes, it is best to take a small loss because you can always increase the rentals as the economy improves. If you have a property at an ideal location, you can increase the rent gradually to match or surpass your monthly amortization. For example, you can rent out the property now at $25,000 even at a mortgage of $30,000 per month, knowing you can increase the rent gradually when the economy improves. Or you can create a 2 to 5 year rental contract where you allow lower rent now with an escalation clause that the rents increase at succeeding years. The best scenario would have to be a rent to own scenario. Another option that you can explore to save your property at the same time to recover your perceived losses is the rent to own agreement. In a rent to own agreement, you're giving a chance for someone who doesn't have a lot of capital to own their property while renting it out to them initially. Usually, people who want a rent to own agreement are people who cannot be approved by banks because their income varies from month to month. These are people who are freelancers, online sellers, real estate agents, overseas workers, salesmen who cannot get approved for a bank loan for whatever reason, but they can generate the cash to pay for property. They are willing to pay a higher rent that goes towards paying for the property eventually as long as the price is locked down to today's rate. This will protect them from the increase of property values, which can be as volatile as increasing from 200%, 300%, 400% in the coming years. And there's no security for them that if they can't invest in property now, when will be the time when I can invest in property since their income is unstable. So the upside as a property owner is that you have cash flow for 10 to 20 years on the rent to own period. You can enjoy a higher interest rate for up to 10% or more for providing financing on your property. You can easily recover the losses of your bad investment this way. The service and value that you provide is that they do not need to go to banks to get approved and they can move in to the property at a lower cash out. As a property owner, if they stop paying you, you get to keep the property and their payments. This is not covered by the Masada law because what you have is a lease contract with option to purchase instead. I've seen payment schemes like 5% down payment, 15% interest in 15 to 20 years, or 10% down payment, 10% interest in 10 years for rent-to-own properties. So, for the right property and the right agreement, this can be a win-win scenario that saves your investment, gives you passive income, and at the same time, creates a good deal for the right property buyer. Again, if you feel that you have made a bad deal, do not lose hope. When you make mistakes, you become a better investor for your next deals. Just remember that for every problem, there are always creative ways to solve it. If the experience makes you a better investor or a better person afterwards, then the small tuition fee makes it worth your investment still. Thank you so much for watching my video. For more tips, feel free to subscribe to my channel. If you want to discuss real estate deals with me, feel free to get in touch with me through my website, www.jamieligan.com, or through any of my social media channels, and I would be happy to see how best I could help. Thank you and have a good day.